Hello, everybody. Um, Thank you so much for coming. We are gonna start in like 1 or 2 minutes just to give other folks a second to get in if they are gonna come. I'll say this a couple times before I actually start. I am recording this, so we can post it for people who can't be here. So if you don't want to be in the video, turn your camera off, and that's totally okay. Um, so just an FYI, I'll probably say it again. But yeah, in the meantime, everybody can just kind of hang out. Maybe I'd love actually to know like where everybody's from. If you could post it in the chat, um, just because I think it's interesting. And I'll start because I'm in New Hampshire. Atlanta. Oh my gosh. Cool. We're all over the place. Let's see. I'm getting emails. So I'm getting some last minute how to Zoom works, how to Zoom work emails. It's 2023. Um, okay. I'm going to start. And if people show up, then they can join in, and that's totally fine. So, welcome everybody. Thank you so much for coming. This is going to be relatively quick, and I will try to be not long-winded. My name's Clover Nahabedian. I'm the executive director of Strange Trace Opera. Um, and I'm so happy to be doing this and to be meeting all of you. This is our third Stencils Festival, which is going to be happening in the fall of 2024. So in what is that, 18 months or something? So we have some time, which is exciting. But it goes by quick. So I'm excited to tell you about what we're doing, what the process is like, what we're looking for in the application, and then if you have questions, you can ask them, and we'll be on our way. So I'm going to share. I made a little slideshow that I'm going to show you. Um, I had a great time with Google Slides. um, okay, can everybody see this okay? Cool, great. Stencils 24 info session. That's where you are. You knew that. Who is Strange Trace? That's us. That's me. So we are a group of instrumentalists and singers and composers, and we love opera. We started in 2020 and have since then produced 16 operas of varying length on film. Um, our longest work is about 45 to 50 minutes. Our shortest is about 10. Um, and these have run the gamut from kind of like serious dramas to political satires. We like to do lots of different things. I live in New Hampshire. We have people who live in Boston. We have people who live in Minneapolis. So we're kind of all over the place, which is why we do it on film. We like doing weird stuff. We like laughing. We like things that kind of have like a political subtext. We like exclamation points. I like being weird and goofy and kind of serious. I like all those things. And if that is you, then you should consider applying. Um, what is Stencils? Oh, we have somebody joining. Um, what is Stencils? I'll tell you. Stencils is a semi-annual short works festival and collaborative workshop. So what that looks like is in the fall of 2024, this is what you're theoretically applying for. There will be a series of digital screenings and in-person screenings of 4 short operas. So we are looking to commission 3 short operas. There's a feature opera that's already been commissioned and is already in production. Um, Commissioned artists, you, um, will participate in a small number of workshops and training sessions and collaborative talkbacks. So, on top of you being a commissioned artist who is going to work with us to create an original short opera on film, you are also going to like meet your cohort of stencils creators, I guess, um, and share what you're working on, and collaborate with them so you can kind of like bounce ideas off of each other. Um, One of the unique challenges of what we do is figuring out how does opera relate to film as a medium, and a lot of the work that we do is remote. As you know, I live in a different place than most of the people who do Strange Trace. So a fun challenge about stencils is figuring out how can I make this work if my 2 actors are not in the same room. And we've had lots of unique approaches to that. And also, depending on your work, that might not be the case. They might be in the same place, and that'll be part of the production process. Um, who can apply? Anybody. Uh, literally anybody. No age requirements, no geographic requirements, whatever, whoever you are, we want you to apply. We especially want traditionally underrepresented people to consider applying. As a trans person, sometimes it's hard to find opportunities that kind of center us. So if you fall into any of those categories, please consider applying. And also, if you consider yourself to be an opera outsider, I really encourage you to think about applying. Something um, I like to say to people who are thinking about applying to this is even if you think you don't really know what opera is, you should try this, because it's fun and it doesn't have to be like an elitist kind of like closed gate community. So if you are unsure of like what your relationship is to opera, you're probably in the right place because we are kind of unsure too. um, the application process. So the round 1 questions, which is the application that you have access to, is due on March 20th. Um, if you are selected to advance to the next round, you will be notified of that on April 8th. Um, from the round 2 candidates, and round 2 has kind of its own set of questions. That's where we get a little bit more in depth about your proposal, about who you are as an artist, how you work with other people. Um, if you pass round 2, on April 22nd, you'll be notified and we'll invite you to interview. And at that point, that is just to kind of make sure that you are going to gel with us as much as we are going to gel with you. We want it to be a fruitful and like fun relationship. Um, and on May 22nd, we will notify the winners. Um, what is the production process? So we will form teams of collaborators, and you will have say in this. We're not just going to say, "Hey, Steve, you're working with Jack." We want you to know each other first and make sure that you're like excited about working with each other. Um, we'll facilitate a collaboration agreement, so that way everybody starts on the same page. Um, and this is all unless you are applying as a team, which is an option. Um, for this round of stencils, this is not how we've done it in the past, but this is how it's going to work moving forward. We're only going to work on one project at a time. So we're commissioning 3 short operas. So whatever the first one is, that's going into production like officially in early July. Um, when that's done, we move on to the next one. When that one's done, we move on to the third one. Um, and our intention is to kind of look at the commissioned artists and figure out who is kind of the person who has done this kind of thing the most. and do them first. And whoever might be newest to this kind of work is going to go last. So that way they have more time to kind of learn from their collaborators and peers. Um, the production schedule starts with a meeting of what is everybody thinking? What do we think this could look like? Um, we'll have a series of libretto drafts and workshops, including readings and talkbacks. Um, at the same time, we're going to have the composer work on the score. So those kinds of things are happening concurrently. We'll draft that. We'll do a workshop, which is really more of you've given us a score and we've made a demo, and not like a live workshop. Um, once everybody has kind of signed off on the score and the libretto, we'll do an audio recording. We might do some revisions, and that's usually kind of spot checking. So, hey, at measure 26, I'd love that to be like a little louder, or could we change like that one note to an E, like that kind of thing. Um, then we film, and then we edit. Um, and what kinds of things are we looking for? Um, we really like things that strike a balance between like political subtext. I think I've said this before, and humor. We like being funny. Um, and Vinny, I just saw your question. I will answer that. That is a great question, but I'm not ignoring you. Um, we like kind of original and unique takes on familiar tropes, which is something I'm going to address when we look at the application. We like things that kind of flip expectations upside down. Um, and we particularly like applications that address the unique skill set that Strange Trace has to offer, um, which is something I'm going to talk about more when we look at the application. And Vinny, to answer your question, um, we um, are open to works in progress, um, but we our expectation would be that you are comfortable with like an editing stage. So this question has been sent to us a couple times before of like, can I just send you like a thing I've already written and you produce it? The answer is no. We're not going to do that. We want to like work on it and make sure it like kind of fits what we want as a group of collaborators. And it's not just about Strange Trace; it's about you too. And it's also about having three works that are kind of in dialogue with each other. Um, so so the answer is yes, with like an asterisk, I guess. But that's a great question. So then I also want to show everybody the application and just go over the questions really quick. Um, and if anybody has other questions, please just put them in the chat and I will answer them. Okay, here's the application. This is a very standard application. It's very easy. Okay, so if you have a specific proposal, tell us about it. I want the elevator pitch. I don't need like the nitty gritty. I just want like what's your like kind of 2 minute pitch on this opera? What is it about? If you are somebody, especially if you're applying as an individual composer, looking to be paired with somebody and you don't really know, or if you don't have a specific idea, but you do know what kinds of things you like to do or like to think about, I want to hear about that because that helps us pair people in the collaboration process. So yeah, if you kind of say like, I love puppets or like I love like stories about the Bible or like whatever, like tell us that. Um, how do you approach collaboration? What we are really looking for with this question is um, we want to know like what the question is asking, right? What's important to you and somebody that you're working with. But we also really like to know when conflict happens, when a disagreement happens, because it is going to happen. Um, how are you going to handle that? What do you do? Um, remember, underrepresented community. Yeah, if you have a website, please show us so we can know what your work is like. And so this stage is really overview stuff. So I don't need to see like every kind of specific work you've done, but you can just send me your website so I can kind of peruse. If you have done this kind of writing before, please tell us. If you haven't, tell us about like why you're interested in doing this. And then here is the big question. Why are we, Strange Trace, the right artists for your proposed work? So what we are looking for with this question is that you have looked at a little bit of something that we have done before and thought about why you would want to work with us. Because you might like watch one of our operas and be like, this isn't a great fit. This doesn't seem like something I want to do. That's okay. But what we really want to see is that you've been like, I watched October Surprise, which I'm gonna drop in the chat in a little bit, or one of our other operas, and said, "Oh, I really like how you kind of have like this like goofy take on whatever," and I think that would really fit with kind of my sense of like how I use instruments and how I write melodies, or like how I like to develop, do character development, whatever the case may be. Um, some answers we have gotten in the past are things like, I don't know you. Um, that's not a helpful answer. So don't say something like that. But tell us that you've like done a little mild research on what we do. But also why that is exciting for you as an artist. Um, and then tell us a fun fact about yourself. We are, you know, we want this collaboration to be like people working with people. So we want to get to know each other, and most of the artists that we've commissioned in the past are people I talk to now, like 3 years later, like regularly. Like I want us all to know each other and like be in a broader network of collaborators. Um, some on the proposal front, some things that we have gotten in the past that we are not interested in general. Uh, if you have an idea about adapting a Greek myth, um, it should really be a super original take. But if it's uh, you know, isn't that Achilles guy crazy? Uh, you know, we kind of are looking for things that are going to go a little bit deeper. And I don't want anybody to take that as, oh, Strange Trace doesn't want to do my creation myth, because that's not true. We've done one. But that proposal was about the creation of the theremin, and imagines like a god of electricity, like gifting the theremin to humans. Um, so I hope that kind of gives you a sense of things we like. Um, And I think that's about it. That's my rapid fire overview. I'm going to drop some links in the chat to things that we do and have done. Um, there's our queer football opera. This is our whole YouTube channel. Here's our opera about conspiracy theories. Patrice asks, if you've already written a short play, would you include this in your proposal? Yeah, please. Absolutely. Um, and I'm just going to drop the link to the application one more time. Okay. And that's it. I want to just kind of give people space for maybe questions or comments or whatever you might have. Yeah, John.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I kind of have two questions
Okay.
I'm curious about. Yeah, the first is, I'm interested in, because it's kind of I'm from China. I'm international student from China,
Hmm.
and I'm interested in doing kind of like a mashup of like traditional Chinese opera and opera, that kind of thing. Is that something you would be interested in, like maybe some kind of language and then some kind of the different style music,
Absolutely. Yep.
that
Yeah.
would be and like if I have like friends who are like in can come who are composers, or should I like invite them to like apply to, like
Yeah. Yeah. Please. Anybody that you know who might be interested in such a thing, to all of
mhm.
you, that would be I would be honored for you to share it with people. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you, yeah.
Um, and another thing that I was just kind of thinking about is if you are not selected, um, that does not mean that we don't think that your idea isn't cool. Um, if you, in the event that you receive a rejection, we will also say, if you want feedback, please let us know. And I will say that last year, two of our commissioned artists were people that we rejected in the first year who read what we were not really vibing with, and then came back and said, "Hey, I revised this for year two," and then we accepted them. So um, the as you all know, like obvious, we all get rejected every day, and it's a real bummer. But I really like want to leave that door open. So one of my teachers always said to me like, rejection in the arts is not a no, it's a not yet. So I thought that was cute. Um, are there any other questions? Yeah, yeah, Vinny.
Hey, I have several composers that I work with,
Hmm.
but I'm totally open to, I like working with new people. And so, uh, would that be a preference for you, just to be wide open to who you have, or would it be more beneficial to come as a team?
Um, I don't think um, I don't have a preference either way. So we like the idea of like matching people up, but every year that we've done this, we've also had teams apply and be accepted. So it's whatever you want. And if you want to submit multiple applications, you totally can. So if you want to apply as a team, but then also apply as an individual, um, you can absolutely do that. Um, and that also reminds me, if you have multiple ideas, we'll take them, but just do like an application per idea. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Okay,
Um,
great.
and you can just copy and paste all the answers other than the proposal part. So
Great.
yeah. Anything else? Other questions? All right, I think we did it. Thank you all so much for coming, for your interest, and to anybody who came here from New Play Exchange, thank you for being patient with the Google form not working. I don't know what's up with that. I think it's something with like the New Play interface. So someday I'll learn. But thank you for your patience. I really appreciate it. In the meantime, if you have any further questions, please feel free to send me an email, which is strangetraceopera@gmail.com, and I will answer you. Yeah, but thank you again, and I really, really look forward to kind of hearing your ideas. And again, let me know if you have questions, okay? Cool. Thank you all, and have a great Wednesday. Bye.
Call me, John.